Yo, welcome to the Castagne tutorial for v0.5. So Castagne is a fighting game creation framework for Godot engine, which aims to be pretty complete. We're a way to make complete games. It's still a work in progress at that point. And this is a tutorial of sorts, which is meant as a halfway measure, because at the moment we're working towards Castagne v0.6, which is going to be very indicative of the final quality and functions. But at the moment we are at v0.5, which is already useful to make games, as you might have played with Kronian Titans. But you know, we're getting to better functionality and ease of use, and in the meantime you can use this video tutorial to get started. So in this small tutorial today we're going to see how to download and set up Castagne from the official website. Then we're going to see both how to use 3D models and 2D sprites with the creation process we skipped over, but how to actually import them in the engine and how to make a few moves with them for both of them. So let's get started. From there you just extract the file, which will get you this folder. So here, if you just start it here, that's the project root. There's the Godot executable with it. If you just start it, you will get the Castagne editor by default. But what you want to do to finish up the setup and be able to import your own models, you want to make it, put it outside. So you cut the file, put it outside the project root, and then start here. That's gonna just start the Godot editor with the projects you already have. So from there you want to click import, and then navigate to wherever your project is and get the project.godot file. And when you open it, you're gonna get pretty much the same thing. You're gonna get the editor view, which is going to be necessary to add new models and stages and all the like. And from there, whenever you want to start your project, you just press F5, which will once again start the Castagne editor. So then you can use either of these buttons to start get you started with the defaults needed. So for me, for instance, since I'm going to show both models and sprites today, I'm gonna use 2.5D fighter. But if you want just 2D sprites and a core 2D thing, you can use 2D fighter. 2.5D fighters. You're gonna need to restart the engine, so whatever, you know, and then there you go. You can start editing the character. So from here, then you can start messing around even before. Here you have you already have some default models with the Castagneur, which are also some default attacks you can try out for yourself. You can see the file is locked because it's a core Castagne file, but you can still check out the attacks and how they work. You know, for instance, here that's 2B. But yeah, but at this moment we want to see what we can add. So let's try adding two characters, one made with a 3D model and one made with sprites. So let's get started with the 3D model. So as you can see, I have a very original donut steel character here. So just put Susan's head on a very simple body and rigged it. So that's going to be the model I'm going to use here. So I'm not going to tell you how to create your models right now. You have plenty of people that are way more skilled than me for that. But what I'm going to tell you is how I export them. There are several ways, but this is the one I use. So first of all, you want to have some of your parameters and the scene setup well done. So one thing is in the scene output properties tab, I put the frame rate at 60 frames per second to match the engine. That's not mandatory, but that's really helpful. Then all my animation are exported as actions, so different actions here. So each one of them has this little button fake user put in, so it doesn't get deleted at any point. All those actions are going to be exported automatically. Then so really simple animations. And the way you want to do it is go to File, Export. So you have several options One of them is GLTF, is here. I didn't have a lot of success yet with it. I will try again another time, but these days I'm using the more legacy method, which is to use the Better Colada exporter. So that's not part of the basic Blender thing, but that's part of that's linked through Godot. So I'm going to put a link in the description to where to download it. So I start here, then I use, so this one is a preset I made for myself, but here's the parameters I put. So you see I want to export everything, to apply the modifiers, triangulate the mesh. That's always helpful, better to do it in Blender rather than in Engine. The export animation and export all actions, that's important. And then I also choose what to export, so I don't export cameras by accident, you know. But you want to keep the armature, the mesh, and empties. It's usually because you put something there. So then you go into the project folder, and then you see you have the add-ons, you have the Castagne folder. So don't put anything in the Castagne folder in general. That's always going to be a problem with updates. So I put a folder called Fighters. I like to put my own folder per character, and then just export. That's good for the Blender side. Let's get it back in Godot. Let's get to Godot. You have a small editor here telling it it's trying to import it. Let's get to the file itself. Let's try to open it with. So since it's not a Godot scene, it's not going to be able to open it that way. You want to make a new inherited scene in order to make changes to it. That's what I click. And here I see I forgot the correct modifier, well, whatever. That's not that big of a problem right now. So I'm just going to save it as the file I want, so monkey.tscn. That's an important part. So here then I can try, as you can see, there's your basic armature imported with the animations. So that's monkey air, monkey punch is here, boom. That's a punch. So here I want to put some materials in, or spatial material for instance. You have a lot of ways to get to it, but whatever. So here that's one. Let's export the model once again, but this time we don't forget to apply the modifier before. There we go. Export. Yeah. Once again. Get back up. You need to cycle it again. Tack. There you see it also kept the changes we made. Then let's make some other materials. So that's one thing that needs to be like black. Yeah, that looks somewhat right. Let's put another. That's the light part. Yep. It looks. Yeah, that looks like a monkey. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, we got a monkey. Now let's get started to put it in the game. So before putting in the game, first of all, I want to copy this path. So you want to copy the path inside of the engine. As you can see, because the root folder starts by res, that way is going to give you the correct path. So copy path, start the engine with F5, and then I want to do new character. So just go to fighters. Let's name it Casp. So for Castagne personnage. That's some Franglish right here. And here at that point I just have the basic, really basic stuff. Model of the Castagne with nothing here, because it's already inheriting from this file, which you can always look at to see what is available. So that's a part that is going to be better in Castagne 0.6. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is start here So you have the character, you have a few blocks which are going to be interesting. There's the character block and the variables block, which is going to help us do whatever we want. So let's start with the character block is accessible from elsewhere. So we want to overwrite model path. So the way we're going to do it is go into monkey, write model path exactly as it is in the other file, copy our file, which is going to address to the tscn file we made earlier, reload. There we go. That's a monkey. It's slightly big. So we just changed model scale to it's 1000 is the basis. Let's put 400. Yeah, well, let's make it a bit bigger, you know. Yeah. Yeah, that looks alright. So that's the first step cleared. So we have the model in engine, but now we want to start getting the animations in. So let's put some animations through the standard animation system. So in order to do that, we have all here use standard animes and some of them. So let's just copy all of that, you know. I'm not going to be big. No? So go into the variables block, just paste everything. That's not a problem. It doesn't find any of the animations. That's because I also did it on purpose to have weird names. So the first thing I want to do is change the use standard animes from 0 to 1. That's going to start having problems, but that's not today's issue. So let's put the name of our animation, which is the one you can see here, and these are the same names as the Blender file. So monkey, for us it's monkey stand. So let's monkey stand. Bam. There we go. So now you have also some of the stand animations. So that's a stem that's also going to be a bit changed in 0.6, but basic idea is still the same. So we're gonna put 30 because that's the amount of frames it takes. There we go. Here we have our standing animation. Of course, it glitches out a bit whenever we try to walk. So let's fix that. Also, crouching doesn't work. So let's use monkey crouch and monkey walk. Well, there it goes, it works. So here, but of course you can still do a lot of this. So we have so if you want to think, for instance, anim jump squat and landing, I'm just going to use monkey crouch. While for the air, I'm going to use monkey air for all of these. Yeah, that looks about right. Let's just so there's a lot of instant animations, can be done better, but we're going to use monkey it. And here we're going to use monkey block. That way we're all set on the standard animations. So whatever for text, I don't have a tech animation, or throw taking animation. So here let's start getting attacks in. So you're gonna see there is a slight delay because it doesn't have the stand to crouch animation. Let's see if I can remove it. Or not. Wait, it's been a while. But yeah, there we go. We have a good start. Let's add an attack now. So here let's add our attacks. So so to add an attack, we're just going to create a new state. So with the new state button. So there's a few ways to register attacks, but the simplest one is to use the basic binding, which is just trying to use one of the use the numpad notation. So let's start with a standing attack, which we'll call 5C. We have 4 buttons, A, B, C, D. That's for Castagne 0.5, that's it. This is input management is coming soonish in the next subversion. But yeah, at the moment, if I just put that, so there's a bit of a code, it's just gonna do one attack, a simple one. You see, it does work. If the opponent is blocking, it does play or block animation. So everything pretty good. So let's see what an attack looks like and how to use our animation. So call standing attack. That's the first line. That's going to use the standing attack state script. So 5C is a state script, and every frame we just execute that script. So that's so by doing that we just make sure everything is set up correctly. So once again, that's easier now with the new editor. But we make sure we use the standing attack as expected. So that means we're going to be able to get hit, to get damage, all of that. Then from we say from frames 10 to 11, we put our hitbox out. So it does 1000 damage, and the whole attack stays for the whole attack is 60 frames total. So here, if we want to make a faster attack, we can put it at 40, for instance, and then we put the hitbox. So that's we're going to see a bit later. Then we do attack at special cancel. So that one allows us to go from the normal attack into a special attack, which you can customize later. It's not a special problem. To note, by the way, for now we only have the basic attacks. We don't have motion inputs either. So here I'm going to use the anim. So the anim function will allow us to execute an animation with the correct frame. You can add an offset. As you can see, when I write something, you can see the documentations below, which says the name of the function, the name of the parameters you can put, which are separated by commas, and you have the description. So you can always look at the documentation to get more information. Here's a tutorial. It's also available on the website, but you can see a lot of more textual version of this tutorial here, with some code examples and a lot of move examples. But don't forget to look at, for instance, the CF attacks module and see all the function documentation to see what is available to you. Same for physics, same for everything. So now we don't forget to reload. There we go. We have the monkey punch. But the monkey punch has some problems. For instance, the hitbox doesn't really match. So we just put it on pause by either unchecking run. You can put it on slow if you want, or you can advance it frame by frame. You can use execute move to start making the move. So I'm going to put a big hurtbox. So you can use F branches to make it cleaner, but I won't today. Let's see if you can see the box getting created at the same time. Let's just keep it that way, 0. Yeah, that's somewhat good. Good enough. Let's look then. This is our active frame, I think. I know it's frame 11, so let's put frame 11 to 13, and just add the hitbox where we want it to be. So let's not make the move too jank. Oh, that's a fairly simple hitbox. So if I just now put it on run, so I have some basic attack here. So It does a punch, but it doesn't really feel like it does a lot. So I'll just add some more parameters like attack frame advantage, which allows it to change the advantage on hit and block. So let's put it at 12. I don't know. That's a big number. That one is going to be able to link to it. So let's put at 6 and -2. That's almost a combo. If the opponent blocks, he recovers a bit slightly before me. Let's make it really obvious. Yeah. See here. He can almost punish me, but because he only has a frame 11 move, that doesn't work. Let's now put some attack momentum. So let's just put some variable to start with. Bam. That's a heavy punch. Maybe let's make it less strong at the moment. Boom. Yeah, that feels pretty nice. Yeah. So yeah, that's how you add a move. Let's change attack add special concept attack add all normals cancel. So this one is going to be useful in a very few moments. Let's add another attack, so this time a crouching attack. That's pretty much the same thing, but register as crouching. All normals cancel. So that one allows us to do reverse beat. Basically. Let's put him monkey upper, I think it was called. Yeah, that's a monkey upper. That's basic. Let's do the same idea. This one's gonna need up frame 14, I think. This one's an anti-air. Let's make it high. Let's put a third box about the same as last time. Yeah, that's precise enough. Let's put some attack. Let's do it with attack hit stun. And let's put 60 frames and attack frame advantage block. This time is going to be punchable. And attack momentum to make it a launcher. So let's get a bit here and a fair amount here. That's going to, yeah, that's a launcher. Let's make it launch a bit higher and reduce the gravity. I think it was, no, that's not attack float. Let's put some absurd numbers. That's infinite material, but whatever. Balancing is not my problem today. Oh, that's he's blocking. Yeah, fine. Yeah, that's what we call a combo. Let's make Monkey Punch a bit cooler. It looks like he wants some range, so let's put that frame 6. Let's add a little pulse. Let's put a bigger pulse. If you're bored of, by the way, of making the execute move, just put train here. It's gonna fix itself real quick. I like having some advancing normals here, so let's put another. Let's make the other one too. But yeah, that's already a good thing. Let's see to make one last one in the air. So G5C. So let's just anim. What is it called? Monkey Air Slam. So same idea. There. So in this case, since it's going to be a bit hard to set up, I will use the air button to make my monkey spawn in the air, and then the execute move button to really get an idea. So it's 4 frames later about. Wait, no, that's the. I think frame 11 is the correct one, but let's use a lot of frames here, so it's really active. It doesn't need to be balanced for today. So hitbox, you can put a really jank hitbox here, because I make fighting game creation tools. I'm good at fighting games. So let's put a big jank hitbox for my troubles. Let's put attack runes because it's going to be funny. Okay. I think it was the forced landing flag, because here if we hit him in the air, he's gonna ground bounce, but here we can force him to ground bounce. Yeah, that's a pretty fun character already. Yeah, if I'm getting better at it, it will work better, but yeah, that's already your idea of the character. Let's just finish him up by adding some more variables. So here you can also get some of the actual ones, like walk speed or jump force, gravity, stuff like that. So let's just use a few of them. So walk speed, let's make him walk a bit faster, and make him walk backwards slowly, because that's for cowards, Let's make a smaller jump, but it goes a bit more in depth. There we go. So okay, that's how to use a 3D model in Castagne to start making characters. So of course you can. There's always more to see, but that's already. I think that's already a good starting off point. As always, don't forget to ask questions on Discord and look at the documentation, which is getting more and more featured. I would recommend looking at it on the website, since it's a bit cleaner there. You can see it from here, so see the documentation. There we go. So let's, if we look at your first character, you can see there's a bit more formatting. That explains to you how to get started. Same with the advanced moves and the rest of the getting started guide. But yeah, that's already how to get started with Castagne. Let's now look at how to use sprites instead of 3D models. As an aside, here you can see what your game can look like if you if you continue this path, so here with the Kronian Titans with the silver, kind of the model is half broken, but that's not a problem for just a quick show. But yeah, the engine is pretty flexible at the moment, but I'm working on making it easier and easier to work with. So let's do one combo for fun. Or not, if I'm not good enough yet at Kronian Titans, but yeah. That's something you can make in Castagne at the moment. So now, how to use sprites for Castagne. So the first thing you want to do is to grab some sprite sheets. So I'm having here one with Molten Winds. So of course, how to make these sprites is in the Molten Winds follow-up tutorial. So of course, here let's look a bit at them. So here I have my sprites. So what you want to know here is that you can have several sprite sheets. That's what I have here. Here's the movement sprite sheet, which has all my movement sprites. Here's the various hit states. You know, you see here it's knockdown. Here it's hit. Here it's a special grab state. You know, there can be however many you want. But yeah, in the end, what you want to do is to have all of the sprites in a single sheet be of the same size. So here for me it's 256 over 256. And you want them to have the same anchor point. So what's an anchor point? That's basically the origin of the character. So for me it's about here. You know, and that's the same about everywhere. You know, that way when if I just take one sprite, if I use one sprite here and just copy paste it exactly on the grid here, oops, on the grid at the exact same position, you see the feet are on the same place. So here, so of course that's the one that I have. So let's get into the Godot editor once again. So now that we're back in Castagne, so now we have our sprites here available. So we have hit, move, and physical. So let's start by copying the path. That's going to be useful in a few moments because because we need to reference which sprite sheet we're going to use. So that's going through and because it needs to be a project path, it needs to start with res.// which is our root folder. So let's start Castagne now. There we go. Let's add a new character here in fighters. So we don't want to put anything in the Castagne folder because otherwise that's going to make updates difficult. Fighters, Aster. Let's just put Aster.gasp. There we go. We have the basic Castagneur thing. So that's because we are using because everything is going through a base.casp file, so which already embeds some of the logic, which means we can replace it if we want. But we want to get started to tell it to use sprites and then to load all sprite sheets. So that's So we need to change one of our blocks. So we have the character block and the variables block. So the character gives some various data. So let's and we want to override some of the stuff we find in the base.cas file. So here we see exactly what we need, which is use sprites and the sprite sheet path. So let's copy that. All of that, we don't really need to be picky here. Here, let's then use sprites like this. So there, it doesn't load the example, but here we don't want the example. We want the copy path. We don't care about sprite frames path, that's another system. We use sprite sheets here, that's already at 1. We change the sprite sheet name to here as the mov.b. There we go. So here now the problem is that we don't see anything, but that's because our sprite sheet is pretty big and we don't have the correct numbers here. So that's here where you will actually manage your sprite sheet. So first of all, we're going to tell how many lines and columns it has. So number x is the number of columns. If we look back here, we have 10 columns and 4 lines, which means we put 10 in NBX and 4 in NBY. That's already closer. If we, you might be able to see some, but here we also want to put that that anchor point. So for us, this is going to be this. So there is some trial and error, but there you see now the sprite is correctly located. So of course these are getting easier with time. So this is this sprite functionality is still in progress. It was the first version was pretty simple, and this version is a work in progress since we're in Castagne 5.2. But yeah, then let's change the size with pixel size. So if you're using the exact version, there's a bug at the moment for if you do it in 3D graphics, but that's an issue for another time. But yeah, there we go. We already have our first sprite here, and let's. So here, sprite sheet name is not really a problem. It's just an internal name for when you use several sprite sheets. So I'm going to put it to mauve. But yeah. So for now, let's try to add animations to that. So if you saw the 3D part, you know we use the standard animation system, which is in variables and all of these. However, the problem is that in sprite sheet-based games, we don't really know what the animations are. We don't really know how to make the animations. So what we're going to do instead is overwrite those states here, the animation states. I'm not going to do all of them. So we have the, let's do stand and walk. So here I'm going to go to here, put a new state, so with empty, it doesn't need to have anything, anim stand. It needs to have the exact same name as the other one. And here I will use the sprite function. The sprite function either can take the frame ID, so if I put 5, you see I have already one of the frames. So for me, they, by the way, they start at 0. But you can also put a sprite sheet name, which is going to be useful in a few moments. So here I put move 0. So I've got that one. Let's put here a walk F. So let's put that sprite, well, 5, we saw it. So that's an error if you don't really know how to type on the keyboard, like me. There we go. We already have this animation. So to make looping animation, it's a bit more complicated. We are going to see it another time. That's everything in its because it might also be changed in some future updates. So I don't want to use too much to put info that's not going to be that useful in a few moments. Let's put some walk B in. If you want more info on that, you can always use the Molten Winds tutorial, because you can see the exact code I use to make these characters. So yeah, so that's we already have some of the base animation made. So let's get on to the next part, which is going to be adding an attack. So then from here, for attacks, first of all we're going to be needing another sprite sheet because we have several. So we actually, the thing these variables do is just set some stuff later on, which is going to be here in the init sprite sheet. Let's see if I can find it. That's also easier in the new one. I'm gonna show it later. Init sprite sheets. So you see that's actually the actual function, the actual code that runs to start a sprite. So, but what we want to do here is to override that state. So init sprite sheets. First of all, in order to not have problems, we want to call the basic version. You can do without, but you know that's always a good thing to keep the functionality intact. From there, you just register sprite sheet function. And there, because we also have because normally you have to add all of those information, but since we already put it for the other sprite, we can just take this one, this.png, give it a name. That's why I wanted to give the other one a name. And there we go, I have a second sprite sheet now. Let's add an attack now, for real. So attacks take the name. For now, the easiest way to make an attack is just to use the numpad notation. So there's no motion inputs for now, and the only 4 buttons available are A, B, C, D. So that's in the process of changing for 0.6 once again. But let's get with a 5A. So here we can use a template to get started. So I'm going to use the attack standing one. So if I just put it here, there, you see it uses the attack, and it does actually act on the opponent character. But here we want to see our sprites, so of course we can just use sprite fizz. So let's take a look at which sprite is that. So yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So that's going to be all main attack frames. So let's start with 1. So of course these are called state scripts, and these are executed every frame. So if we put that here, we're gonna have this sprite every frame. So let's just put it in F1 here, and then put another sprite here. Put the second sprite on this part. If we don't put it in brackets, so it keeps the last sprite you set. But if you don't put it here, it will just it won't show. It will show this frame only for the 2 frames it's here. Let's see how it looks for an example. You see? Yeah. So that's an issue you want to avoid. Then let's put here. Let's put frame 12 here, and then frame 14. Let's put the recovery pose. So that's a cool sword slash. So let's see actually how to change the data. So you can look at the. I'm going to only do one look at the 3D part if you want more information on that. But yeah, the attack is. This is our damage. This is the total attack duration. Let's put it at 40. So here you're gonna already have a quicker attack. Let's put a hurtbox and a hitbox. So in order to do that more cleanly, I will uncheck the run button. That means the game doesn't run anymore. I will just use execute move, which will start me in the current move. Use next frame a few times to get the correct one. So, and here I'm going to add the hurtbox. Put the numbers. You see the box getting created as you write the numbers. Well, that's close enough for me. That's can be more precise when it's your turn. I'm going to adjust that to. Well, that's a big attack. Yeah, that's. Let's make it a jank hitbox, a real jank. There we go. So here, let's put it back at run. You see, I can attack the opponent from afar. Since this is also a rushing attack, let's put from frames 1 to 10. So that's both included. We'll use a move here. So let's see, does that work? Somewhat. We can. It needs a bit more punch, you know. Let's add a second movement. That's slower to get a quick start. That way, hop, hop. There we go. That's an attack. So we have our attack. Everything's going well for us. Perfect. So that's how you use an attack. Let's wrap this up with a few things. As an aside, I wanted to show that even if the sprite functionality is still in progress, it does work for pure 2D games pretty well. So that's Molten Winds. We're going to be seeing more of that. But yeah, let's. So we're gonna, of course, see. For instance, you see there's the looping animation. There's a bit of more detail with the parallax backgrounds. There's the parallax backgrounds. There's the shadows. You know, all of that stuff. That's getting more and more easier and easier to add as time goes on. So please look forward to this this longer form tutorial on how to make a complete game with Castagne. So by the way, if you want to actually play the game as a game, the thing is that the editor starts really quickly. Doesn't do that on actual release game, fine, but you might want to test it as a game, so that's going to be easier really soon. But for now, just go into the config editor and change the start timer. You can put it -1 if you want, or another value, and then save it. What's gonna do is that now when we start, we're gonna see this screen from which we can start the main menu or directly a local battle or training, and that way I can put my my two characters one against the other. As you can see, there we go. That's really cool. So for now, first character is with the keyboard only, while the second one is with the controller, which isn't plugged in at the moment. So yeah, there we go. We see that we got the training mode working as expected, and can start testing our game with friends and stuff like that, and people, other people. So that's cool. And as a bonus, here's a quick look at how it can change in Castagne 0.6. So as you can see, there's already a lot more going on here on the selection screen. That's exactly what you want to do here. That's where you can handle better classification of those, and you also have in the things themselves, there's more and more there's more data, you know, going through here. So of course this is still a work in progress, but you can see it's already going to be a lot easier to use than it is right now. So please please look forward to it. You can see you can also there's plenty of functions coming in. You know, you can even check quickly what functions have problems or not. And there's the custom editors feature that's coming soon. So thanks for watching this tutorial. So I hope that's given you the opportunity and knowledge to start using the engine. And so if you have any questions, go to Discord in the description or the GitHub to ask questions and see how it evolves. And in the meantime, please have fun using the engine, and see you around.